The Book of Boba Fett Episode 5 has dropped on Disney Plus this morning, so if you have not seen the episode yet and you're not caught up with the show, click off right now, go watch my reviews for The Mandalorian, because that's a really cool show in the Star Wars universe that, doesn't have much ties to this show, right? Okay, so this is not a spoiler, I just kind of want to set you guys up for what we're going to talk about after the intro. So you know how in TV shows, they'll take one episode of their season and focus off of the main title character? Rick and Morty does this. They focus on the other Ricks and Mortys from the Citadel of Ricks and whatnot. There's a little bit of that going on in this episode of the Book of Boba Fett. I just know that we should all be alerted for episodes like this because it could be make or break for the entire series in general. I love Ted Lasso, but that episode with Beard was weird. So enough talk, let's get into the new episode of the Book of Boba Fett. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Ordalaza, and today we're going to be reviewing Chapter 17 of The Mandalorian. The Return of the Mandalorian. That's weird. Why is he returning in his own show? Okay, I had this whole plan to go straight face, thinking that this was going to be like a legit continuation of Mando's show, but I don't know. It just got less and less funny in my head. So, yeah, this is Mandalorian's episode. Mando, Din Djarin, he's in the Book of Boba Fett, and he's taken over an episode. That's pretty wild. If you guys remember my review from last week's episode, or if you've seen last week's episode of the Book of Boba Fett, episode 4, you would have seen the little subtle hints of Mando coming into the whole situation, helping out Boba Fett with this Tatooine war, battle for Tatooine, and I thought maybe he'd pop up like in the last bit of this episode, or maybe they'll just like tease him now, and then he'll come in the finale episode, the final episode. But no, this episode just opens up with Mando. He's in a meat market, tracking down a bounty. It harkens back to the first time we ever saw Mando, where he walks into this bar and he drops the little coin that shows the hologram of the bounty of the guy he just showed it to. And then he gives that famous line, that really dope one-liner, "I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold." He gets into a scuffle with a bunch of these guys' henchmen, and he's pulling out the Darksaber. You could tell he's not obviously trained with this Darksaber. He just won it like the last time we saw him. So it makes sense that he doesn't really know how to fight with it. He still does come out on top because he's a Mandalorian. He's a badass. He's just naturally born to kill. Then it cuts to the Book of Boba Fett title card, and I'm like, oh, that feels weird. Because this whole vibe of the intro was so Mandalorian-esque. We haven't gotten anything as badass as this opener in the Book of Boba Fett. And to be honest, I'm kind of a defender of the Book of Boba Fett. I really loved that first episode, and the fourth one was also really good. I don't think it lived up to the hype of the first one, but in my honest opinion, I think the first and fourth one are really good. But also, this opener alone is better than the first 4 episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. And that's insane to me because it's not like this new team just came out of nowhere and started working on the show, the Book of Boba Fett. This is Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's show. None of these episodes, while I do think a handful of them are good, live up to the dopeness and the epicness of any Mandalorian episodes, and that is me being 100% honest. With that being said, I'm able to see that the Book of Boba Fett was trying to go for something different and a little bit more laid back and a little bit more like drama-esque, and I was all in for it. That first and fourth one really does, get you there. Second one, again, it's a little too long for my opinion. Third one, I was willing to take a back seat and to see where the Book of Boba Fett was taking us, and it just felt like it was riding this thin line of familiarity up until this episode where it just shakes things up entirely. Boba Fett, not in this episode at all. That's shocking to me. I thought maybe we were gonna get him like in the second half or something. No, dude, this is straight up another chapter in Din Djarin's story. This is chapter 17. For real. Din goes to claim his bounty in this Halo Elysium looking thing in space, and he finally gets his bounty, and you can see he's limping because he kind of cut himself himself by accident with the Darksaber, further proving that, yeah, he's not really well versed with that kind of a weapon. And he goes all the way down to the basement of this Halo thing, and that's where, I forgot her name, the Lady Mandalorian that forged his armor and gave him the Mudhorn symbol on the shoulder plate. Yeah, she's just chilling in this basement now with the one other remaining Mandalorian of this creed. They think they're the only ones. I guess she doesn't know about Bo-Katan Kryze and I forget the other one's name, the Sasha Banks character, of course, and the guy that was in that one episode. Like, they exist, and there's probably more that we just don't know about. But if you guys remember in season 2 of Mandalorian, Bo-Katan Kryze was kind of telling us a little bit about Din Djarin's creed and how they're like this subsection of Mandalorians that follow this strict law of, like, you can't take off your helmet, this is the way. It's like this cult almost. I never really got that cult vibe from the other Mandalorians, but after meeting Bo-Katan Kryze and learning that knowledge, yeah, I can see it now. Even though there's only 3 of them, I can kind of see that. Like, Din doesn't feel like he belongs with these two anymore. He feels like he's slowly evolved past the ideals of this creed, and, you know, he didn't really care to take off his helmet when he said goodbye to Grogu because there's an attachment there. But the Lady Mandalorian does raise a good point that, you know, Jedis, you know, are supposed to forego all attachments, so maybe this doesn't have anything for Mando anymore. I don't know, that'd be heartbreaking. Since Mando's Razor Crest was destroyed in season 2, he's gonna take the bus. So he takes the bus all the way back to Tatooine and he meets up with the one lady. I'm forgetting everybody's name today, but she has all the little droids that help her out. She's like a mechanic, and she helped him with his ship in season 1, I believe, and she's kind of just been around ever since. She hooks Mando up with this old Naboo starfighter. I forget the exact name, but it's a prequel ship from back in the day, and it looks really nice, and they fix it up for a good like 10 minutes. There's a lot of downtime in this episode for it being that type of an episode where it just deviates from the main title character. But in Mando's case, he's got his own show, and he's got 2 seasons, 16 episodes of his own journey. He's earned this type of an episode by now, so it's justified, it makes sense, and I want to live in this world too. I love it. It's so entertaining. I love to see his interactions with his characters. They're so much more dynamic than the first 4 episodes set up anybody in the Book of Boba Fett. Now, going into the Book of Boba Fett, I already liked Boba Fett. I already liked Fennec Shand, and that was because of their setups in The Mandalorian. So, again, I think Mando is justified having this type of an episode, but as someone who is really looking forward to a cool story for Boba Fett, it says something to me that there's got to be something going on behind the scenes as to why an episode like this exists in their 7-episode run of the Book of Boba Fett. It got me thinking, like, was there some behind the scenes drama or problems as to why there's an entire episode that deviates and becomes the other show? Like, why? I just wanted to know that. I still had a lot of fun with this episode. And at the end of the episode, Fennec Shand comes to meet Din Djarin. She gives him some money, says, Boba Fett needs your help. And he gives the money back, says, it's on the house. And I was like, that's my boy right there. He then says, I'll help you guys out, but first I gotta pay a visit to a little friend. And obviously he's talking about Grogu. He got something made from the Lady Mandalorian for him. I wonder what it is. I don't, like, what could it be? I have no idea. Guys, in the end, this was a really solid episode of The Mandalorian, but I have to be that guy for just a few seconds. For a show called The Book of Boba Fett, it's worrisome that they had this amount of episodes, one less than a season of The Mandalorian, and even then, one of the 7 episodes has nothing to do with the title character. I'm indifferent because I love the concept of this show, The Book of Boba Fett. I want to see a story told, and we've got that. We got quite a bit of a story told, albeit that 3rd episode was a little messy. I like where they were going with it, and they could have refined it in the last 3 episodes, but they deviated to something that is really dumb. They really did. They deviated to something that obviously is proven to work, but it ultimately, like, the end of this episode is the only thing that has to do with the Book of Boba Fett. This was an entirely different story, an entirely different circumstances. It was the Mandalorian show. It was chapter 17 of The Mandalorian, hands down. Anyways, guys, that is my review for The Mandalorian chapter 17, also known as the Book of Boba Fett episode 5. Let me know down below, what did you think of this episode? Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new, guys, and be sure to stick around because I'm currently covering Peacemaker. There's 4 episodes left left. One drops tomorrow. There's 2 episodes left of the Book of Boba Fett. Hopefully, we get a little bit more Boba Fett in those 2 episodes, because that'd be cool. We get to see a partnership between Din Djarin and Boba Fett. I would love that. And this war that they're teasing out is sounding pretty juicy. So there's a lot of content coming to the channel, guys, and you might want to stick around because there is more to come.